Okay. Here. Where are we going here? There's an interesting spot here. Let's see if there's a reaction. Oh, negative 1,000 tick oversold. Holy cow. I think that might have been the perfect buy to dip opportunity. Yeah, I think it is the buy to dip opportunity there. Let's see what comes of this. Negative 1,000 tick indicator is always good. All right, I got one. Negative 1,000 tick. That's a pivotal POC area, so there's a good chance we were going to pop up there. How much we pop up is the question. To get off there. I think there's more to this run though. That was a beauty though. Pure negative gamma. I definitely could have got a lot more on that. What a shame. Value area low on NQ there. Ages ago. Let's see if this holds. YM's popping up there. Wow, where did that go? Yeah, 74.10 seemed like a good spot to buy the dip on SPX. That would have been the TP. Definitely should have held that one a little longer. Open 20. Yep, exactly. Opened where I thought it might open. 74.20. That was pretty. That was very pretty. Massive 5-minute candle. After negative 1,000 tick went off. I think that was the easy play for the day. She got more accounts though. Holy cow. This should go to 74.50, I would think. 74.50. Yeah, I definitely should have held that. What a shame. That was brutal. That would have been 73. So NQ, sell side liquidity, and POC. A POC from ages ago. Talking about June 22nd to maybe June 29th. And the POC there was like a good spot to go long. You got the 1000 tick, negative 1000 tick indicator. It was golden. Volatility hit 19.5 and came down. This looks like the 15 minutes gonna hold massive green. Pretty massive gap though this morning. Redrive pattern, and we tank. A, B, C. 1, 2. Okay, so this is how we're gonna draw this thing up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Use some fibs here. EWT fibs. Or maybe back up here. Something like that. I don't know. I'm just trying to see if I can draw out three drives based off of the fibs for the most part. But I think it's starting to clear up a little. Hey, Koshik. This morning, it was a very interesting play this morning, and NQ swept its low level from, I guess it's the weekly low, right? The 20th. It swept that, but it wasn't like perfect or anything because it overran it by maybe 40, 50 points. About 40 points. And that was this sell side liquidity level here, SSL. A lot of noise on this. Let me delete. Tons of noise, actually. It's just redrawing the EWT now that we have a little bit more information. Okay, so ES, I was trying to figure out where we might bounce on ES, and I ended up drawing. Oh, this is not ES. Sorry. This is ES. Yeah. So I drew this pre-market. I just wanted to see. This is the last price cluster where I wanted to see where most of the volume kind of hung out, right? So I drew a fixed range volume profile between somewhere just roughly between the 23rd of June through to maybe like the 29th of June, just roughly, because I wanted to capture this pocket of price action here, because that's where the price was running to overnight or pre-market. And I noticed that there was a value area low here and a potential sweep there. So I wanted to see if we would sweep around there, and we did not, right? We didn't reject or bounce off of this level. So I was just looking, and then we got to the POC. We got pretty darn close to the POC pre-market in like the last 5 minutes. And I believe in the last 5 or 10 minutes, NQ also swept. NQ also swept its sell side liquidity from the week. So it's weekly lows. And I thought maybe we could get a reversal on open, and we didn't get it immediately. The first minute we drove down maybe 5 points below the POC, and I got a negative 1000 tick indicator. So this is just something I set an alert on. It's the cumulative tick. Every time we cross 1000, it sends me an alert, because algos are basically, it's like when algos just massively sell. It's like all algos in unison sell, and it normally indicates that we could be reaching some sort of bottom there. So anytime the negative 1000 tick indicator goes off for me, oh shit, I just realized I'm not showing you the chart. Sorry. Yeah, every time the negative 1000 tick indicator goes off for me, I'm always looking for some sort of reversal, especially at a key area like the POC. So I just set an alert, and I don't even watch the chart, and then it will just pop up and I'll hear this big gong, and it'll play out. Well, it'll just alert me. So just like the RSI pops up every now and then. Yeah, anyways, what I wanted to show you was the ES price action here. So I noticed that there was a sell side liquidity at 74.68 on ES. And there was no real price action to look at in July below this sell side liquidity. So I had to run to the, or I had to look back towards June 23rd to about June 29th for this price pocket here. And I wanted to see where the POC is, right? So I drew a fixed range profile between the 22nd and the 29th roughly, just to capture this pocket of price action, and drew the POC pre-market at 74.48. And yeah, the POC is 74.48, but you know, oftentimes it's kind of like a range, right? So you're like, oh, okay, hang on, this can run to 45 or pop up at 53. So pre-market, we were hanging out around that 50 to 53 range, and I thought maybe, just maybe, it'll go up. But and not to mention that NQ also swept its sell side liquidity at 28,701, which is the weekly lows. It ended up overrunning into the session volume or value area low from last Friday. And that was just a level that I carried through. And then once it hits, it terminates. So we visited that level, and that was a decent reversal point for NQ after the sell side liquidity sweep. And then I also looked at Alma's levels, and lo and behold, 74.13, 74.12 on SPX were her levels. So everything kind of lined up to go long, especially the 1000 negative 1000 tick indicator, which basically tells me that algos went max short. And oftentimes you look for a reversal around there. So I just gave it a shot. I only took like 7 points, but I think my stop loss was also about 7 points. So, well, sorry, my stop loss, I set it at 10 points. I didn't want to see it go below like 74.42 or 74.41 on ES. And luckily it held and it started pumping. I should have held it to, like, my goal was to hold it to the 15-minute ADMA or Alma's upside pivot, but I just didn't trust the price action at open, right? So I was a bit afraid, and I let a lot of profit just kind of go away because I was afraid. But that was an interesting, like, there's so much confluence there. Looking at that ES POC level, the sell side liquidity on both ES and NQ. The POC level would have been like, I was trying to look at the hourly, and the hourly is kind of unclear. I was like, hey, yeah, maybe, just maybe we might run towards like this edge of node, but there wasn't much of an edge there initially. So this was starting to build up just from the pre-market price action. So I didn't really have much to go off of, which is why I drew that volume profile in the fixed range. But just interesting to see like where the volume profile, where the price likes to bounce off certain levels of the volume profile, right? Just going back here to the gamma chart. $73.95, $7,400. There's a lot of protection to the downside. Like, things should start slowing down between 73.75 and 7,400. 73.75, 7,400. So like a 25 point support level. But yeah, I let a lot of profit slip through my hands there, which is unfortunate. Like, what a time to play 1R, you know? Also, you know how we were talking about like potential weakness after Vixpiration? I think we're starting to see it now. And you notice that VIX, it hit 19.5 today. And yeah, VIX is just like one big negative gamma block for the most part. Did you mess around pre-market at all, or near open? Ugh. Or any trades? This is gonna be a tough one. Everything's gonna be such a massive stop loss. No, I don't trade first 5 minutes. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that was my hesitation too, because I don't normally trade. Like, I try not to trade the first 5 minutes, but there was just enough telling me that I should there. And I just went with it. But yeah, I did take an initial loss at about 8:45-ish. So I just got back from dropping off my kid and saw that we hit a bottom wick, 5-minute bottom wick, I think, around that time. 8:55 actually. Yeah, I tried it around 8:55. Thought we might get a reversal, but we didn't end up getting one, which is unfortunate. So I took a loss there and basically got my money back from the other play. I should have held beyond that, but it is what it is. So I did take a loss this morning. I also traded pre-market. Sorry, not pre-market. At 6 p.m. last night, the market opened. I think I happened just to pop open my charts and notice that both ES and NQ gap down about I don't know, like 15 points, something, 10 15 points, and then it went further down, and then I just happened to notice that there was an SMT when I checked, and it was at around, I think that would be 7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah, around 7:30. Yeah, around 7:30. And, or maybe even, yeah, 7:30, 7:45. About 19:45, 19:30, 19:45. And then I took a long there just for the gap fill. So I ended up getting about 12 points there, I think. About 12 points, plus minus. No copying on that one, sadly, because that one was on my phone. But I love a good gap fill and an SMT, and I saw both and had to give it a shot, basically. But the market, it'll definitely, so the straddle today was at 45 at open. At 9:40, it dropped to about 40 points. And now it's still sitting at about 40 points, plus minus. I think I carried, I ended up carrying 50 as my straddle, but I think it was sitting at around 40, 46 points. So I guess I can drop it about 4 points in either direction. Drop my straddle a little. But yeah, this one's going to be, now that volatility's kicked up quite a bit, after expiration, we're definitely open for more VIX up movement. Whereas before we were kind of capped around like 18.5. Yeah, if I look at the VIX here, I might mess up my charts completely, but it's okay. VIX specific, we're looking at next week's expiration. Why is the data unavailable? Oh, there. Got it. So, yeah, like here you have a 17 bottom potentially, and then a high of 21. But you're generally in negative gamma on the VIX, which means we can pretty much slide right through to 23. And then we start getting positive gamma in the VIX at around 24. This is next week's expiration. So yeah, it's not big or anything, but it was just, that's the next expiration and we could be driven by that. So that's the reason why vol signals and anyone tracking VIX from that perspective, or volatility in general, is saying that after the VIX expiration, we could experience weakness through to August. So it just helps. That's why I like looking at, or I like listening to the vol signals guys. Alma is another one. And Yamco. I think I mentioned Yamco like when we first chatted on stream. And Yamco had actually, it was just yesterday, him and Tony Mansour created a space that they discuss realized volatility. And I think the one thing that I gathered from that is, let me see, I have it. Yeah, I'll send this to you through Discord. This so what I did, I just kind of recorded their spaces. I recorded their spaces and then got Gemini to transcribe it for me, and then asked both Gemini and Claude to summarize it real quick. But if you listen to the spaces, they do talk about like a bunch of things, but it was just easier to get the summary. I did listen to the whole spaces though twice. And I thought, just in case I was missing something, I'll get AI to summarize it for me. But yeah, in the analysis that I was providing to you in the morning yesterday, I think you said, holy crap, lots of analysis here. That was more or less just trying to give you general insight on that whole VIX expiration trade and what everyone is thinking might happen. and having that as like a good backdrop, like you said with gamma, it's just like you just want to know what environment you're in. We also need to know what vol environment we're in too. Vol as in volatility. I find that it just helps complete the puzzle. And the theory there is like all funds are max long, right? And if all funds are max long, there's no leverage. And we talked about this. I know it sounded like a joke, but we're only half joking when we say it. But Trump wants to bring this down in order to bring it up. And bringing it down just gets rid of the leverage long positions. And when that happens, it clears out a lot of the longs. CTAs come back, and they have more firing power after they start selling. We saw the COT report, and it was super crowded, and it's been crowded for quite some time, right? Everything was just waiting for a long signal, right? That was my belief anyways. And there was enough smart people mentioning it. And when you combo it with Vixpiration, a lot of it just makes sense because volatility was pinned for the most part. And you kind of saw price action whipping between a range. So there's some force that was holding on to price action in that range. I'm pretty much hands off here. I would like to see this go up some more. But we're just in a range here, and you get the feeling that like we can whip around. So depending, your stop loss would have to be at the very bottom. Same thing with the short. If you think the bottom side isn't going to hold, like your stop loss has to be at the very top. At the very top of the RTH. Otherwise, it's just like take a small loss here, take a small loss there, and yeah, it all adds up. But yeah, do you have any thoughts on like, I know you're good with the gamma stuff, but you have any thoughts on like the whole volatility stuff that that I kind of throw out there every now and then based on like all the research that I'm either subscribed to or reviewing from these quote unquote smarter people. No news today either. Yeah, don't get me wrong, like the whole vol stuff, I wish I can track it myself. I wish I'm smart enough to track it myself. But I'm no expert. I just like conglomerating everyone's like people that I trust. I like conglomerating their views. And then from there, develop my view. But this whole system that I kind of have where like I start from like a macro point of view and then kind of dive into a more narrow intraday point of view. I think I get it from like I'm more influenced by that Chem Karsong guy on Twitter, and that's how he kind of views the markets. But I don't think he's making daily trades because he's like a fund manager. But having that macro view and then like basically saying, hey, yeah, it's an inflationary environment, then inflationary environment can last like 10-15 years, right? Or maybe even more. So the idea is to have that and then dive down to what this year could look like and then what expiration, like what each quarter can look like, what each each expiration could look like, and then you keep on going down from there back to intraday. Obviously the macro doesn't need to be updated that frequently, but it just helps build like the bigger picture. And I understand day trading, you don't need the macro. There's a lot of people that um, that don't even reference the macro. But I also do a lot of swing trades, right? So I prefer seeing the macro. Yeah. So if you have any thoughts on like the whole volatility stuff that I mention every now and then, whether it's questions, comments, whether a lot of people don't even believe in it, which is interesting, and um, it could be like voodoo, which is like witchcraft, and some people do believe that, and it doesn't. To me, it's kind of like where I start my macro view to some degree, and then from a quarterly basis, you could quarterly or monthly basis, having an idea of what volatility, where volatility is, how people are priced, could impact everything. Like yesterday, for instance, we couldn't see any downside. And even though the gamma showed negative gamma through OptionsDepth anyways, that's intraday gamma, right? That was showing negative gamma to the downside, and it wouldn't go down fast. And one of the reasons why it didn't go down fast is because there's one way of calculating gamma, and then there's another way. One is vol adjusted. And Alma is vol adjusted. So Alma does her vol adjusted gamma, and she says, hey, yeah, the vol adjusted gamma basically shows there is a floor today. It's all positive gamma. It's going to be very sticky if you try to move lower. And that's essentially what happened. His 15-minute close is a little interesting, but it could still see downside. This just opens my eyes a little. It's not high volume or anything. NQ still looks a little heavy there. And the stop loss is massive. Like, I don't know if I can try this. And I feel like we're also one Trump tweet away from like just tanking. ECB officials are ready to raise interest rates in September. Wow, okay. Iran sent Revolutionary Guard commanders and missile-related equipment to Yemen's Houthis this month. No real big news there. $74.40. Okay, what are we doing here? Just chopping it up. A, B, C. Yeah, I would love for it to go up and then finally flush down. Considering we haven't touched VWAP yet, but I mean, we don't need to touch VWAP. But it seems like there's a lot of pressure here. Customers implied P&L. Break even at 74.14, coinciding with the centroid. Shadow gamma effect is supportive above 7400. Stickiest at 7460. That's interesting. So the 15-minute close looked okay for a bounce up, but the 5-minute just looks like pressure down. Below 7400 line, there is a huge theta risk. Distribution is betting on a mode of 7403. The control pullback is seemingly happening. Centroid's the same as downside pivot. Market is betting on a break-in day after a gap down that is expected as being overpriced. The highest probability is a negative return today, despite the customer's upside bet, because dynamics are working against them. For futures, the key and last buy to dip target is 74, 50, and 60 zone, which is roughly where we're at right now, with upside at 75.10 at max reversion. 75.10. Insane. Yeah, even the 30-minute looks kind of bullish to me. It's a good MES trade. Yeah, 30-minute close. Well, on NQ, it doesn't look as good. 4 hours, I'm pretty sure looks bearish. Yeah. Hours all bearish. No SMT at the lows. But if shadow gamma, which is the vol adjusted gamma, is supportive above 7400 and stickiest is 7460, could explain why we're experiencing what seems to be positive gamma here. Yeah, extremely boring price action here. I agree. Especially after like a nice gap down. You get a nice run up in like the first 5 minutes of the day, 15 minutes a day. And then, yeah. And we're stuck with this. Like, I don't want to see downside yet. I would like to see us run up towards like 7,500, 7,480, 7,500 ES. Doesn't mean we'll get it. It's just something I would like to see before we run back down and close near the lows. Ooh, what is happening here? Yeah, see how heavy this thing is? Yes, the 5-minute looks heavy. 15-minute looks like we could have reached a bottom, but it's just candles. And this chop is meant to happen and just like grind everything out and then finally run one way or another. The 1 minute's a mess in my opinion. And there's random like volume spikes on the 1 minute too. And I actually see it on the 5 minute also with wicks and wicks. All top wicks though. Rambo First Blood. Is that an old movie? I just know it's like Duke Nukem, the game from way back in the day. Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I can totally see why you're pumped. I wonder if we're like trying to set up an SMT of some sort here. Brutal. Yes. Awful. Yeah, VIX is not giving me any signs either. Oil is back up to 90. Wow. Amazing. After I moved to like 68. I didn't even get my oil long. Well, I did pick up some companies, but I mean, I didn't actually get oil itself though. Oh man, this is so nasty on the 1 minute. I see it as pressure on price action here, but it doesn't want to really go any lower. It's trying. 15 minutes looking less nice here. Yeah. I thought so too, but then that 15-minute did not close nice. 30-minute didn't close nice. I still like the way the 30-minute looks. It's just I would have liked a green candle there. But I am feeling that bullish. But it could go down and do an SMT still. Yeah, see, like, price is doing something funny here. So if you do take it, just make sure you set an SL just in case. But I want to see it run up back to the highs here. It's one of those things, you get in late, you're kind of screwed. Because every 1 minute candle has been pulling back. Every 5-minute candle, it went full range. For like the last 15 minutes anyways. Yeah, like something's happening here. Just the way price action is moving. VIX is trying to curl down. The VIX is trying to curl down here. I think upside, but I think one of them's got to do an SMT first. At some point, it could be worth it, especially if it's pulling back to almost that low of day. So it's like, okay, if it's pulling back to your low of day, your stop loss can be pretty small and go like half your risk that you would normally take if you want to try it. But this price action can sucker you in. So just make sure you get like a good entry. If you're getting in. And suddenly it looks bearish again. Yeah, that 15-minute doesn't look as good as it once did. Like I wanted to see that next candle after the doji close. I didn't want to see another doji. Because that to me tells me like, oh yeah, we're just pausing before we head down. Let's see here. Like right there, low risk entry if you wanted an entry. But you really have to believe in the price action is going to go up. VIX is still ranging. $7,400, 7,405, 7,400. On SPX. is happening here? Yeah, let's see if we can get a reaction off of like 7400 area. Currently sitting at 7410, 7411, 7405. Yeah, if we're looking at this cluster here. But in general, things slow down towards 7400. Yeah, I think that was the only real trade that was nice. This morning, right at open, actually. All right, so there's some SMT there. Wow, that looks interesting there. Extremely low risk entry. 10 points up. Amazing. Off of the sweep. That is crazy. And now the squeeze. Good SMT though. Let's see his 5-minute close. That was almost a 20-point pop-up. It's insane. X wants to come down here. Very ugly stuff. You hit VWAP now. There's the VIX. Let's go. Upside test 74.55. I still like 74.55 upside tests. No chance we close green today. Love to see this 15-minute close. This 15-minute close matters. Wow. That was insane. This 15-minute close is not going to look bullish at all. This is very interesting here. Very whipsawy. This is why entries matter. Where you enter matter. Yeah, that 15-minute blows. Holy cow. I thought it was going to close bullish. That was insane. Bearish. Bearish it is. There he goes. YM's trying to hold it up, but it's all NQ driven right now. NQ went a little bit further down there. NQ might want to run towards 2848 if we're going to head further lower. This 5-minute and 15-minute is extremely bearish. $18 seconds on the 15-minute. 15 minutes extremely bearish here. I don't think there's going to be anything that can save it. Yep. That's what I thought. Amazing. YM is looks like it might try to hit its stop sell side liquidity, but it's quite a bit low. The way you enter absolutely matters, because there was an SMT between NQ and ES, and ES came within 1 point of the 930 lows, and then popped right back up for like 20-point pump. So right there would have been a good opportunity to try. But the 15-minute close pretty bearish in my opinion. Like, I don't like the look of that at all. But if you've got an entry at around like 46, 48 on ES, you get to ride that pump for 15 points in a matter of minutes, right? So you'd take that off any day, forget about your original target, and just take it off, right? Holy cow, that was nice. But yeah, I didn't get that, sadly. Yeah, just VIX is acting a little bit funny here. It looks like you're gonna get a vol spike up, quick one, and then back down. Every candle is overlapping, which is insane. Still some SMT, but nothing's pretty here. Nothing is pretty. What is happening here? Yeah, 15 minutes still looks bearish. Sweep. Pretty close to a sweep again of the 930 lows. And we are folding down. I would like to see around, let's see here, 7366. Interesting. 7366. That's way down there though. Doesn't feel very fast. Very slow price action. Oh yeah, there's nothing there until maybe 7425. So I'm just gonna expect downside until 7425 on ES. NQ's got nothing until maybe the 500, the low fives. But you technically have like positive gamma at 7400. It's like more local positive gamma, but it's like stair step down now. So a charm down too. So if we can move under 7400, there is massive risk. The only problem is getting there, I think, be a challenge. This is just based off of Alma. I'd like to see VIX sweep the previous day, or not previous day high. This would be the July 17th, Friday highs. We are pretty darn close to sweeping that level. There's been no real volume to signify a reversal. So I'm not thinking a reversal at all. Obviously, there's a little bit of volume just from that down move, but if we get that VIX sweep, maybe VIX bust through. Or it could just be like the massive volume we're expecting for a potential reversal. But I'm not loving anything here yet. Yeah, VIX really doesn't want to go above that 19.5 that I have. It's really trying though. I feel like it'll just be one volume spike on ES2. If and when that 19.5 breaks. Very sloppy price action though. Acting funny again, like price action. It's looking a bit odd. It looked fast, but just for a moment. Where are we at? We went down almost 100 points. We're at like 95. We went down about 95 points from yesterday's close. Okay, let's see how we react off of 74.95. If there is a reaction at all. Sorry, 73.95. Apologies. 73.95 on SPX. We're just hovering around 7,400 right now. Close to 100-point move from yesterday's close. No real volume to suggest there might be a termination candle. So I'm thinking we just drift down here. Straddle low is like close to 73.75. And 73.90 would be the first test, I think. $73.95 according to the daily though. 395. I would love to see a test of 73.75, but there's just not much positioning on daily. Everything came in after hours, or during regular market hours, I should say. Good vote. Okay, still. This is starting to look pretty good now. To the downside. 73.95. Yeah, here. There's just nothing here on NQ to bounce off of either. I can't see. Maybe another 10 points down. 10 points down would be 73.90. 10 points down would basically see value area low of the entire volume profile area. So I would my higher time frame volume profile, 74.25. Yeah, I think another 10 points down. That would basically fix it. And what would signify a bounce would be if volume came in on that jolt down. Getting pretty close to that value area low. Okay, all right, so VIX actually spiked up there. There's a great spike up on the VIX. I wanted to see 90. We got pretty close. Close enough. 73.90, let's go. Is this the reversal? This could be the reversal here. It's a little earlier than I expected. 73.93. Hey, yellow, I can barely see it. I'm gonna have to make it a darker yellow. Decent volume on that 5 minute. I mean, if we're gonna do a pullback, this would be it. It's an interesting yellow, or darker yellow. Orangey yellow. Let's try that. Oh yeah, you can see that much better. Mustard. It looks so gross though. Okay, that's better, I think. Where's the zero line? Grid, I don't need a grid. Two. Let's go dot. I'm gonna change it to VIX. VIX looks good. VIX gamma. Ooh, that's interesting. I didn't know you can have VIX gamma like this. Negative bars. Nets. Ah, crap. Okay, value area low now. This would be a very interesting spot for a reversal. If we should reverse. Yeah, that was value area low there. It would have been a good spot to go long. I'm not gonna try anything else, I think. We're at 90 now. Yeah, that's an interesting spot to go on. Maybe see the 5-minute ADMA or something like that. Good value area along there. Value area low was at 25, 26. What was the low day? 24. That's actually pretty good. Six trying not to bust through 20. Amazing. So that bounce was good for 10 points depending on your entry. Okay, that's negative 1,000 tick there. That to me is termination. Okay, where did NQ go there? That was a good volume candle there, especially we're getting negative 1,000 tick. No bullish flow so far. Negative 1,000 tick. But right now, it's still looking pretty heavy here. Very heavy, actually. And it looks like it wants to go to 75. 75 might be the spot, actually. VIX is popping up. This doesn't look good. I don't know, man. This, I would have thought some sort of reversal there. But we're still trickling down here. $74.75. Value area low only gave like a few point bounce, so it's not the greatest.